This is We Be News Freezy for the 21st century. See how it works? Somewhere. Can you dig it?
And so just want you to know. Man, I looked at that smile on your face just now. And the first time I ever wished I was a photographer to take that picture and let the world see that honesty and that integrity. And know some of the things I know, how you drive all over the country to chase us down. Chase us down. Okay? We move so fast. I don't know if you're married, I don't know if you're a family, I don't know if you're a wife. Okay? But when we get on here, we bosom friends. Anytime I see you, I stop whatever I'm doing. Hey, my man, how are you? Hey. Hey, man, what, that's, I owe that to you. It's an obligation that you have. How old are you?
Oh, 36.
So you don't have the right to do what 36 people do. You don't have the right to go to the dance or go to the party. You don't have a right to take that trip to Europe when I might need that plane fare to fly somebody else to feed my people that love me. Mm-hmm. You feed them. Oh, it's one thing being hungry from food. Right. There's another thing being hungry for information.
That's right.
And that's you to feed them. You got to be the farmer. You got to grow the crop. Huh? You got to till the grain. And at nighttime, when you hear something that sounds like water, you got to go and see if the crop's going to be flooded. That's your job, man.
Hey, everybody, this is Brother Ron. I am asking you all to do me a big favor. Think about supporting the We All Be movement. Your donation is tax deductible. The We All Be Group Incorporated is a recognized 501c3. And I'm just asking you all because I want to keep on bringing y'all quality work through the way that I know how to do best. And I'm going to sing my praises and toot my horn. A lot of y'all were not hip to Dick Gregory until Brother Ron brought him on the We All Be platform, until that Django review we did. Y'all seen another side of Judge Joe Brown, and Judge Joe Brown's message has been amplified. But it was We All Be that brought Judge Joe Brown to y'all back in 2014. And so many others. And we covered so many things. So help us out so we can help you all. Peace. Guess who's back again? Brother Ron, tell a friend. It's Brother Ron. This is We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. I'm just checking something out. Hey, everybody, it's me. It's Brother Ron. What's been going on with Brother Ron? You know what it is. Have y'all heard anything about Brother Ron? Heard the word? I just want to come to y'all right quick on this week beginning. Sunday is not really the weekend, it's the week begins. The week began on Sunday. Just looking at see I hope y'all can hear the words come out of my mouth. Like I'll be all right. We'll ride it through. But thank you for tuning out, to tune in to get in where you fit in on We All Be News Free Dixie for the 21st century. So there's some things I want to talk about. Let's talk about the movies, the TV shows. Much to do about nothing, much to do about something. So I just want to talk, get my takes. There's a lot of interesting things going on in media right now, particular in film and movies, movies, films, TV shows, and a lot of interesting things. And I just watched some movies and shows I want to share my thoughts and insights on this Sunday evening. If you don't mind, thank you for entertaining me, for humoring me on we all be in it to win it. So without further ado, I saw best picture, this movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once. Is that what it's Everything Everywhere All at Once? I saw them, they won best picture this year at the Oscars, at the Willies, Big Willie style, everything kind of changed. I can't believe it's been over a year now since the slap heard around the world happened on Oscars night. So you fast forward to this year, Oscars, and the biggest winner this year was Everything Everywhere All at Once. It won Best Picture. I think it was nominated for 9 awards at the Oscars. Won 7 out of 9, including Best Actress with Michelle Yeoh. I think that's her name, Yeoh. She did a movie back in the day with Jackie Chan. From what I saw, some of the trivia, Jackie Chan was considered for this movie. Like the producers of the movie, they were considering Jackie Chan as the lead, and which is interesting because her husband, the guy who plays her husband, reminds me of Jackie Chan. He kind of has the nose and the look of Jackie Chan. But Michelle Yeoh won for actress, best actress. I think that's the first Asian to ever win a best actress award at the Oscars. Jamie Lee Curtis won best supporting actress. Now, the Jamie Lee Curtis thing, I did not agree with her winning the Best Actress award this time around. I actually felt that the young lady who played the daughter to Michelle Yeoh's, I think her name Yeoh, right? Michelle Yeoh's main character, she should have been nominated and she should have won the Best Supporting Oscar for actress, because I think she did a great job in her role as being the antagonist to the protagonist, mother and daughters. You know how y'all mothers and daughters, sometimes when mother and daughter relationships are very interesting, a lot of interesting dynamics in mother and daughter relationships that was kind of explored in this movie. This movie was like everything. It was like part Matrix, part Inception. What's that movie? It's like a couple of different movies, kind of like some Kill Bill thing going on with this movie, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Now, this is what I thought of. Now, this movie was everywhere. It was all over the place, and everything was happening all at once. This is like a 2-hour and some change movie. It took me actually 3 days to watch this movie. I had got one of those Showtime subscriptions, like you preview the first 7 days just so I could watch this movie. It took me 3 days to get through a 2-hour and some change movie. I'm gonna tell you why. It is too much happening. It's all over the place. They speaking what's that? Different languages, Mandarin and Cantonese, different Asian languages. Then they go into English. Then they got a lot of stuff going on in every shot, So I was constantly trying to stop, had to digest, like, what the hell just happened? Let me rewind. So I would constantly be rewinding because they're switching from speaking Cantonese, I think it's Cantonese, Mandarin, then English, and it's like all this stuff going on, and all this stuff is like very much about attention deficit disorder going on. Just looking at this thing. And my thing about movies are supposed to make you think this hard. Movies are not supposed to be like reading a book. And this movie was too much like reading a book. I was just like, whoa, it's too much going on. Too much all at once. It's everything, everywhere, all at once. It lived up to the title because it was too much going on. So let me just slow down. Wait a minute. I'll tell you, like, a movie I compare this to that I didn't know was going to be really good, decent, was Top Gun 2. Maverick, the Top Gun 2 movie, the sequel to Top Gun that came out years ago, back in the 80s.
That movie was better than I didn't have any expectations, to be honest with you, but it was actually good. I think Val Kilmer could have won a best supporting actor at the Oscars for his role as Iceman. You know, it wasn't that much screen time, but Val Kilmer, he killed it with Iceman. I mean, he really did a phenomenal job. It's a minimalistic approach to acting. And I got a greater appreciation for Val Kilmer because I saw his documentary that's on Amazon Prime. And I didn't know he had such a distinguished acting pedigree. Just brilliant guy, a Renaissance man, very accomplished, but very misunderstood. And then dealing with his, I think, a throat cancer situation. And I like how they worked that into the wingman characters, appearance on Maverick on the Top Gun 2 sequel. But that was pretty good. Top Gun 2 was not bad. I got to go back and watch Top Gun 1 because I really didn't watch Top Gun the first time around. So the sequel actually made me want to look at the original Top Gun. So shout out to that, because one thing about Tom Cruise, whatever you think about Tom Cruise makes decent quality movies. He knows how to make a movie. And it's like he made a deal because he's aging slowly. I don't know. I mean, I know he got money and all this stuff, but I remember him being like Peter Pan, jumping on Oprah's couch on live TV or whatever, on national television, talking about that, people just need to exercise more instead of taking all these pills and all this da-da-da. And maybe there's something to that. I know he's in Scientology. And no, I don't know. But I mean, what's funny about Scientology? I actually went to one of their headquarters, I think out in L.A. I went when I was out in Hollywood, just visiting Hollywood, California. I allowed the Scientology people to kidnap me for several hours one evening because I was trying to figure out what's the meaning of life and all this. I would walk around Hollywood land, and these white girls, these white Scientologist girls, we struck a conversation. I let the white girls kidnap me in Scientology. They even outed me, and that was an interesting situation. But till this day, that was like in 2017, right? So it's about 6 years later, almost. It'll be 6 years this coming April since I had that encounter with Scientology. They still trying to contact me. I don't know what they saw in my audit. I don't know why, because I'm not interested. Like, I brought a couple of books, Dianetics and all that stuff. I know you're talking about Mr. Farrakhan and his relationship with Scientology, Nation of Islam. And we're going to talk about the Nation of Islam later on in this podcast. But I just don't know why they keep on trying to contact me, man. They call me or they send me all this mail nonstop. So this is interesting. But I may talk about the Scientology thing in a podcast in the near future. But anyway, it was everything all at once, all over the place. And it's interesting because I brought up with Hidden Tiger, Crouching Dragon, and that actually won a bunch of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That was when I saw that about over 20 years ago. That was a pretty cool movie. It won for Best Foreign Film at the Oscars. It could have quite possibly won Best Picture. It was a cultural phenomenon when it came out. That movie, and Ang Lee probably could have won Best Director. That movie was a box office success and an artistic success, and it has a cult following. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once is very artsy. It probably will have a cult following, but did it deserve Best Picture of 2022? Like I said, it took me 3 days to watch this film. It's just too much going on. Made my head spin, had me going in circles. That's not an ideal movie to watch. I don't want to think too much when I'm watching movies. I want to escape my reality when I watch a movie. That's what make these superhero movies so problematic. They want to put all this stuff in that people trying to escape for a couple hours. They want to make you woke. Woke all on. They don't want you to dream. They want you to be wakey wake, woke all day, even in the movie. And that's make believe. Okay, all that crap is make believe. So, like I said, I don't believe Jamie Lee Curtis earned or deserved that Oscar. But I'm not saying that Angela Bassett deserved the Oscar, because the Oscars are very political. They're very weird to me because sometimes they'll award somebody in a certain year because they got it wrong some years past. Like, I think that maybe Jamie Lee Curtis's finest movie performance outside her Michael Myers, thing that she does. She's the sister of Michael Myers, not the one, not oh yeah, baby, yeah, not Austin Powers, Michael Myers, not him, not Wayne's World, excellent party time, not that Michael Myers, but nah, that's Jason. But Michael Myers will wear the mask, the weirdo psychopath, killing serial killer butcher knife dude. So, but I think her finest performance may have been, oh man, there's a couple actually. I would have preferred Jamie Lee Curtis one for playing the hooker in Trading Places. To me, that was more of a memorable role for her. I mean, she had some meaty parts in there. She held her own against some big timers, like Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. She held her own, and I believe she could have won for Trading Places. She could have also won for True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger. She could have won with Arnold. She could have won Best Supporting Actress for True Lies. There's a couple of roles that Jamie Lee Curtis done over the years ago that I think she could have won an Oscar. But this role as the Irish lady, I wasn't feeling it. Now, the movie, the themes of the movie, they speak to me. My thing is, thinking about dreams deferred. I got dreams to remember type of thing where, if you ask me 20 years ago, if I saw myself where I'm at right now, I would say no. I did not see myself in the situation I find myself in now. Do I have buyer remorse on some levels? Of course I do. I don't think nobody. How can you live a life without regrets? That's impossible. How can you live even a so-called well-lived life? You will have some regrets. You will have some what ifs. That just come with just being human. And I think I like the fact that this movie explores the what ifs. What if I chose this way? What if I, instead of getting married or running away with this person, I end up just going to college or doing something else? You got all these things, and it talks about different alternate realities and multiverses and stuff like that. That speaks to me because I feel like, I exist as the artivist in this realm, but there's a universe out there or some multiverse that I'm a high-level Prince Hall Freemason. I'm an alpha man. I'm a multi-billionaire. I'm everything that I don't stand for in this matrix, in this realm. I'm something else. I'm a bad man. Or like, I don't have kids right now, but I'm sure there's a multiverse where I have 30 kids by 30 different women. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like some cats now. You read stories of guys that got 29, 30, 40 kids by all these women. So I could be one of them dudes in a different version of myself. So I like the fact that they explored that. And also the IRS thing. I'm feeling it on the IRS. The IRS, to me, they are a bunch of bullies and terrorists and thugs for me, because, I had one very, very good year, and I'm being punished for having one good year. And so I had to deal with the IRS ladies, which are interested, and they smile in your face. All they want to do is out of you in your back. So, I mean, the IRS is interested because, Al Capone was never found guilty of killing anybody in the court of law, but he was found guilty of income tax evasion. The only way the government could get Al Capone was through income taxes. So you look at Joe Louis. Joe Louis gave the American government $1 million, and he still used the IRS to destroy Joe Louis. Made him a greeter in Las Vegas casinos. The great Joe Louis, the great American patriot, who beat down Max Schmeling in the name of liberty and patriotism and the American way, was done in by the American way. Okay. So, yeah, interesting movie, hard to watch, but you should watch it at least one time. And it was some weird stuff. I wasn't feeling it. I saw the award-winning Oscar speech from the producers, creators of the film. Dude talking about, he used to dress in drag and all that stuff, and it's like it was very homoerotic, and some things in there. I like, what is up with these putting things up people's anuses? Was that really necessary? Was that really needed in that film to show? Now I'm thinking about Pulp Fiction, another Oscar nominated film, Samuel Jackson definitely should have won a Best Supporting Oscar for his dynamic role. he played an iconic role in Pulp Fiction. They robbed him, but you remember the scene where you took the biggest, baddest black man, Vin Rames, Marcellus, right, and then bend him over. He getting screwed by this white nationalist, redneck, weirdo, S.A. Brown shirt, Proud Boy looking mother MFer. Why are they gonna do that? You know, why are you gonna break this man down like that? That's really buck breaking. I mean, what was the need to bend Marcellus over and just work him like that? And then you want to redeem Marcellus, like, we're gonna get medieval on this, but they got medieval on you, bro. They red hot poker style, you know what I'm saying? Red hot chili peppers in the anus, insane in the membrane. So I wasn't feeling all the, and then the hot dog fingers, you know, I didn't want to eat a hot dog for a while. Watching them hot dog fingers, I don't know what that is about, but the movie's all over the place. It lives up to the title. As far as the hype, whatever, but put some time aside to watch this movie, because like it's hard. Like I said, there's too many subtitles, too many language barriers, too much going on in every scene. So it lives up to Everything Everywhere All at Once. Okay, I think I did good on that. Okay, now I think it's available. Let me see. Because what I should have been doing was showing light art from the film. Gotta find some. But anyway, let's go move on. Here's it. So if you try to figure out like the video art, whatever, the film art, I think that's it. Yeah. So a lot of things. Oh yeah. Also remind me of what's that movie with Kurt Russell? Was that Big Trouble in Chinatown or something like that? That Kurt Russell movie. See, I just pop all over the place. Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah, you remember that? It kind of reminded me echoes of that. So it had a little bit of everything. Like it was paying homage to a lot of different movies and stuff like that. But yeah, that Kurt Russell movie, that actually was a better movie, Big Trouble in Little China. Compared to the standards today, it could have won an Oscar. You know, I gotta look at that movie. But anyway, Everything Everywhere All at Once lived up to the title. Don't necessarily believe it lived to the hype. You know, Oscar's kind of weird to me. To me, it tried to discredit movies that are blockbusters that people want to see. You know, they try to pay little consideration. Now, you know, every now and then you may award a movie like that. They do award movies, but you know, you look at that year when James Cameron was lost to his ex-wife for Hurt Locker. Avatar should have won Best Picture of the Year. Avatar was one of the biggest grossing movies of all time. Well done movie. James Cameron, the cat that brought us Titanic, with Leonardo DiCaprio and I think Kate Winslet is her name. I think Kate Winslet. But he, you know, Terminator franchise. James Cameron, a brilliant visionary when it comes to filmmaking, loses Best Picture to his ex-wife, who's, you know, and that's now a lesbian, for the film Hurt Locker. People still watching Avatar, but people still looking at or watching Hurt Locker. I never seen Hurt Locker. I might watch it now since I'm thinking about it, but Avatar is still playing somewhere in the world right now. As I speak, somebody is watching Avatar. Some network around the world, even probably the universe, is playing Avatar somewhere. It's like somebody is watching a Gene Hackman movie somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like Gene Hackman hasn't acted in years, right? Gene Hackman did a lot of classic movies, classic roles. I'm sure there's a Gene Hackman movie playing somewhere in the universe or in the multiverse. That's how that works. But anyway. Yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once was Everything Everywhere All at Once. So moving on. Oh, let me see. Who else I want to talk about? Okay, Your Honor. Your Honor. I'm surprised people don't really talk about this show. This is a good show, man. I saw season 1 last year. It was very, very good. I thoroughly enjoyed it, man. It was unique. Let me see something. Trying to find the art that goes with it. This is We All Be News Free Dixie of the 21st Century. Okay, that's Bryan Cranston. Bryan Cranston be playing some roles, man. I love this guy's ability to pick projects, and he really shines in these TV shows he plays in. Like I had I know Breaking Bad was a phenomenon, a cultural phenomenon, won a lot of awards, brilliant, all that, but I didn't really watch it until like I think last year. I binge watched Breaking Bad, and it was amazing. It was an amazing experience to binge watch Breaking Bad. Bryan Cranston played one of the greatest television villains in history, Walter White. That guy was something else. Great writing, great acting. The guy who plays Jesse, his protege, Jesse. He really won me over because he really grew into that role. They picked the right person for that role of Jesse because Jesse went from a clown to being a real contender. I could have been a contender. He was a contender. He wasn't a pretender. He was a contender. So I mean, and I love Giancarlo Esposito's, acting. He's brilliant. Giancarlo is so brilliant, and that Gus character was phenomenal. I mean, I know they did Better Call Saul, but I think Gus could have had his own spinoff show. I mean, Gus was so, and his death scenes are so epic. One of the most epic gangster death scenes of all time with Gus, And we got Gus's Chicken here in Memphis and Tennessee, West Tennessee. And actually, Gus's Chicken is actually got places in L.A. and Atlanta, St. Louis, all over the map now. So I'm wondering if the people from Breaking Bad got the idea for this Gus character from the Gus Chicken restaurant that started a little bit outside of Memphis, actually started by Black people. And, Gus is Afro-Latino, I guess. I don't know what to make of Gus because Giancarlo is actually, his daddy's Italian, I believe. His daddy's an Italian guy. His mama's Black. But Bryan Cranston does it again. And I love him in LBJ all the way. He really captured the essence of Lyndon Baines Johnson. And this is a great actor, man. But in this show called Your Honor that came on Showtime, is 2 seasons in, he plays a New Orleans judge who tried to cover up his only son's involvement in a tragic hit and run accident that kills the son of a very powerful mob boss in New Orleans, played brilliantly by Michael Stuhlbarg. I think Stolberg. That's the cat who played brilliantly. He played Arnold Rothstein in Boardwalk Empire. His portrayal of Arnold Rothstein was one of the best things about Boardwalk Empire. Boardwalk Empire to me failed in a way because it had everything that you could ask for a great TV show, for the makers of an epic classic TV show, and it failed. It failed to me. I don't know, was the writing? I don't know if it had this like everything everywhere all at once vibe. It actually had an everything everywhere all at once vibe because, like, if you want to do Chicago mob history, just have it in Chicago. Why include Atlantic City? Or you want to do New York mob history? Why not have it set in New York? Why put in Atlantic City and all this stuff? It's just some stuff like whatever. And I always tell people, do not try to get a history lesson from a TV show that's based on a true story. It's not a history lesson. Trust me, it's not. And that speed me up to the Godfather of Harlem, but I'm talking about the Godfather of Harlem later on. But getting back to Your Honor, Bryan Cranston plays a New Orleans judge who tried to cover up the hit and run accident committed by his son, who happens unfortunately to kill a young son of a powerful mob boss. As I said, played for Michael Stuhlbarg. And it was actually pretty good. It's very Shakespearean tragedy, a modern day Shakespearean tragedy. And it's worth watching. Season 1 was especially good. And I really thought the way it ended, it will be a one and done thing. Like they would not make any more seasons. Like this would be like a limited run type of thing. But lo and behold, they made a season 2. Now, season 2, I did binge watch it, but it wasn't the same as season 1 because season 1 was so surprising to me. The way it was written, just the brilliant acting. You got Isaiah Whitlock, you know, high strain, shit. You know, he do that. Shit. Isaiah Whitlock, I love him, man. But he does his thing as Bryan Cranston's best friend in this thing who's running for mayor of New Orleans. And in season 2, he is the mayor of New Orleans. And he's the people's mayor. He want to do things, but he's also the godfather of Bryan Cranston's only son who gets involved in this tragic hit and run. And so as a good godfather, he's trying to help his godson by, you know, getting somebody to steal the judge's car that his son was driving in when he hit the mob boss son who was riding on his new motorbike given to him by his mob boss dad. Okay, the Baxter, you know, Godfather New Orleans. Okay, so it's like a Romeo and Juliet. It's a Shakespearean thing because like the son of Bryan Cranston falls in love with the mob boss's daughter, his only daughter. They end up becoming real close, had, you know, boyfriend girlfriend relations, and things happen. But then also what's tragic is that the Isaiah Whitlock's character recruits one of his underworld people to steal the judge's car. This black kid steals the car, ends up getting caught with the car, being accused of being a hit and run that killed the mob boss son. He gets killed, and then his family get killed in a so-called gas leak, but we're the mob boss goons blew up the house. But here's the thing that I like to talk about, and I'm not trying to tell everything. I need to look at Your Honor. This binge watch Your Honor season 1. Try to get through season 2 because season 2 is not as great as season 1. I'm gonna talk about that, but I also want to talk about this in particular. Let me see. I want to shed a spotlight on this young brother. Let me see something. Benjamin Flores Jr. This cat right here steals the show. This the young man who brothers get blamed, his older brother gets blamed for killing the mob boss son, Rocco. Baxter's son was named Rocco. Beloved son. He was an angel Rocco. And his brother steals the car, was recruited by one of Isaiah Whitlock's police goons via one of his street goons. Recruited his brother to steal the car, but he ends up getting blamed for the hit and run, even though the car was stolen like a day after the hit and run occurred or something like that. So the timeline didn't match up. But anyway, he got killed, got brutally beat down by Rocco's big brother, who's a thug, Al Capone wannabe guy, and a mama's boy. And but Benjamin Flores Jr. plays Eugene Jones, who becomes the breadwinner of the family. His older brother get killed, and so he's next in line. So he try to take care of his little siblings and his mom the best he knows how. And as he was getting food for the family, the house blew up by the Baxter crime family organization. But I want to share a spotlight on Benjamin Flores Jr. because I didn't know this was Little Peanut. Little Peanut was a rapper, or is a rapper, who's from Memphis, Tennessee. He was like rapping when he was a little kid. I actually had Little Peanut perform at a Jimmy Lunsford event some years ago when he was he was born July 24th, 2002. I could be this guy's father right now, but I had him perform when he was like 6 years old. He had to be 6 years old. When we performed at Jimmy Lunsford's birthday celebration we had at Elmwood Cemetery. I got this on film. I got to find the film. I got to go through my archives. But we had Little Peanut. Benjamin Flores Jr. was known as Little Peanut back then. He performed at the Jimmy Lunsford birthday celebration back in 2009 at the Chapel Hall or Chapel Room, or at the chapel at Elmwood Cemetery, which is at the front entrance of Elmwood. There's a chapel, and they let me rent it out. and I had people perform honoring the legacy of Memphis music and Jimmy Lunsford. And he actually was rapping Little Peanut, and then Little Peanut ended up doing Hollywood. He did some Disney shows. He was one of the voice characters on Happy Feet. You know, you remember that movie Happy Feet with the penguins dancing and stuff? Dance, 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 dance. But he did a lot of Disney shows and stuff and movies since that time. But I didn't know that was even Little Peanut until I saw like an Instagram post, somebody saying nobody's really talking about the amazing performance of Benjamin Flores Jr., known as Little Peanut. He's from Memphis, and he's acting his tail off in Your Honor. So I had no idea watching season 1 that was Little Peanut that I knew when he was 6 years old doing this thing. I said Memphis is an interesting place. Like I said, I went to high school with Brandy Evans, who's Mercedes on P Valley. Now she says she's younger than what she is. Whatever. She might have been 12 when she was in high school. I don't know, but she was fine back then. But anyway, shout out to that brother, because in season 2, he gets a lot of screen time and he delivers. To me, it's a travesty that this brother, I don't know if he was, y'all let me know, because I don't watch award shows like I used to. Never was into the Grammys. Used to watch the Oscars. Now I don't even care for the Oscars after the last 3 or 4 years. I don't really care for the Oscars. I will hope somebody nominated this brother for an NAACP Image Award, because he actually plays a person who's trying to seek vengeance for the death of his whole family. He's the only surviving person of his family. You know, his brother got killed, falsely accused of killing a mob boss son by the mob boss's other son. Family got blown up by the same crime family. Been through a lot of stuff, but just watch season 2, and he plays Eugene Jones in that, but he does a hell of a job. He has some serious acting chops. And to me, he should have won an NAACP Image Award for his portrayal of Eugene Jones. And for it was an amazing scene where his lawyer, his attorney, was trying to get him a plea deal. And he basically said, well, I want to tell my truth. He said, but this could give you like 30 years to life in prison. I got to tell my side of the story. To me, they spoke of a certain type of integrity. And also, he was willing to be held accountable and responsible for what he did by accident, not realizing that karma used him to deliver justice. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. But check out Your Honor. Look at season 1, binge watch it, because trust me, you will binge watch it. And season 2, try to get through it, because my problem with season 2, season 1 was unique. It was his own show. It had his own distinctive identity. But season 2 became too wokish to me. It's too they added Rosie Perez, and that changed the dynamics of the show. And the writing reminds me of The Shy. You know, the writings went really wokey woke, and it's black girl magic, women run the world type of anthem. I just wasn't feeling it. I'm tired of these shows that I watch, like the Ozarks and this show now. They act like all the men, we're just stupid. We just cavemen, we barbarians, we don't know how to think, we're not strategic. And the women got all the answers. They know how to make things happen. The women are to calm, cool, and collected. That's not real, because even the Ozarks, as much as I like this show is all about some women, women empowerment stuff. That's not realistic, because if you look at the Ozarks, the reason why a lot of things went sideways because of Wendy, because of the wife, not because of Jason. What's his name? Jason Bateman. That's his name. He plays a lot of good stuff, not because his character, but his wife Wendy. She was, and then you look at all the women in this show. They had some power, was a little bit off and awful, and so you see this type of thing repeated in Your Honor season 2. Well, even the mob boss wife is crazy, played by Hope Davis. It's like Baxter's like, if he's Bill Clinton, then she's definitely Hillary, because he is like on some Black Widow, uh, woman of death stuff going on with that one. But like I said, and also like the lack of I appreciate what Benjamin Flores Jr. did in this role with Eugene Jones. It showed him some backbone, but the lack of strong Black male characters, and not only the lack of strong Black relationships, hetero Black relationships. It reminds me of a Lena Waithe production. I know I gave her a Lifetime Achievement Award, but it reminded me season 2 was too much like The Chi, because there was no good example of a healthy Black hetero relationship in the show of season 2. You had the leader of the Desire gang, Desire Project gang, was led by a Black woman who was a lesbian, who brought a club to showcase her trophy girlfriend, this beautiful songstress, and she was over these men. Like, it was weird. Like, like all the dudes looked like were weak. Like, even her lieutenant, her right hand, was her nephew. She was called Big Mo. He was Little Mo. To me, Little Mo was more in touch with his feminine side than, I'm not saying he was gay. He didn't play. I'm just saying he was more in touch with his feminine side than his aunt was. She was like, a monster. It's like, she like, you got more testosterone than anybody in the room. And like the way she would treat family versus how her nephew saw family was interesting. And she's a woman. And I will leave it at that. I don't. Well, it was too much like The Chi to season 2. I wasn't feeling like that, but I got through it. And Roseburg, and then like it wasn't realistic. Like, it actually had a realistic vibe more so to it. The first season, this thing is like fantasy, like it's woke dreams, and it was kind of weird watching it. It was kind of off. It's kind of like when you watch. It was another great show that I liked. It kind of like ran out of ideas, ran out of steam. The show Goliath on Amazon Prime. I was hip to that back in 2017. I knew that show was going to be winning some awards. And the thing about Goliath is it started out pretty good. But the season 1 held the standard too high. Just like with Your Honor, season 1, the standard was so high that season 2 couldn't match it. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes I wish a show, if you run out of ideas, don't do no more seasons. Because like with the Power franchise, it's like, man, y'all start getting really goofy at the end. Like, y'all, to me, is, like back in the day, I remember I was cleaning a break room on Friday, and they left the TV on, and it showed the TV show from the 70s and 80s, One Day at a Time. No, it was a Norman Lear production, right? One Day at a Time. And I had no idea when I started Wikipediaing it. That show was on for 9 seasons. That show started with, I believe, Gerald Ford in office, and it ended with Ronald Reagan towards the end of the first term of Ronald Reagan. So they had a good run, 9 seasons. I don't see too many shows today lasting as long. I guess Law and Order, it's kind of weird, but you think about it, it was an interesting show, interesting premise, right? A single divorced mother with 2 young teenage girls moved to a new city, got some interesting characters, But I look at some of these shows, they get really goofy towards the end. It ruins the credibility and the brand just in the show. If you can't think of anything new, like with Lovecraft Country, people wanted another season, but I think it didn't happen. Most because they probably didn't have a lot of fresh ideas. You know what I'm saying? So I think sometimes I like what that show what Gina King did. It came out the same year. Cause that movie, right? Or the Guardians. We call that movie. Well, it was like a TV show based on that. Let me see. I'm getting all over the place. It was based in let Let me see. I'm just trying to, that show that came out on HBO with Virginia King as lead, and it had the Tulsa, Oklahoma race massacre as the focus, and the aftermath. The Watchmen, right? You had the Watchmen miniseries, right? And people wanted the second season, but I think the creators of that said, I read somewhere, I think that, hey, we didn't have any ideas, and so we just, hey, one and done. And I'm fine with that. Like, I believe Your Honor could have been one and done. That'd be fine. But, season 2 ain't bad, but it's like, it just went the way of a lot of good shows. It's kind of like we're going to retread, and, we're not going to break new ground or go to higher ground. We're just going to walk over those same old stuff. But it's worth watching, especially for the maturation of Eugene Jones, how Benjamin Flores really developed that character. He deserves to be recognized for his acting brilliance. So Your Honor season 1 and season 2 is worth watching. But to me, with season 2, like the outcomes, I'm not gonna give it away, but the outcome, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't, like, it's too fairy tale-ish. Because you got to think about it, this is taking place in New Orleans. Ain't no fairy tale for black folks in Louisiana. Louisiana got some of the highest incarceration rates per capita in any place in the world. Think about Angola. I had interviewed one of the Angola 3. These guys was in solitary confinement for decades. And the real reason they was in solitary confinement for decades because of that prison activism. Not because they were criminals or felons, because they were trying to elevate and create a better place and space for prisoners to heal and be whole and be treated as human beings. That was their real punishment. So they was put in solitary confinement for 20, 30, close to 40 years. And I interviewed Robert King. He was Robert, I think his name was Robert King. I don't get it. Like, he was the first one to get released. He got released in 2001. He spent like almost 30 years in solitary confinement. I remember interviewing him on We All Be radio podcast when we did Blog Talk radios, some years ago. And I said, you was in solitary confinement for almost 30 years. How did you keep from losing your mind? And he basically said, Brother Ron, what made you think I didn't lose my mind? It's not normal for human beings not to have social interaction for that long, for years and years upon years. That's insane. That's inhumane. And that's America. So when I saw what they did in the last episode of season 2, I said, that's not realistic. Some of it is believable, but a lot of it is a stretch of the imagination. But I would say this, it does the job that I wish Everything Everywhere All at Once did. I didn't really think that much while I was watching this stuff. I just like, I just let it run all over me. Just let it run all over me, right? It wasn't too much of me pausing and rewinding because I didn't know what they said. I didn't understand the context. Not that much thinking involved in watching this. So it's good TV. But I said Rosie Perez, her character was kind of weird. It was like her character was Everything Everywhere All at Once in that show. So, but I will watch anything with Bryan Cranston. I will watch because he has a great track record when it comes to film and TV projects. So with him in it, I said, okay, it could be watchable. It may not be believable, but it could be watchable, but it is TV. So it is what it is. So check out Your Honor, season 1 especially, but also season 2. I ain't want to give away too much of anything. It's on Showtime. Okay, peace on that. So moving along. I hope you can understand the words that come out of my mouth. I know I talk fast, but I'm trying to get through it. And y'all can support the channel. If you like the words from Brother Herb, please spread the word. We All Be TV. Cash App your support, $sign R2C2H2. You can PayPal, Google Pay, and Zelle your support. The email, r2c2h2@gmail.com. You can Vimo your support at R2C2H2. That's Vimo at R2C2H2. Apple Cash, 901-299-4355. That's 901-299-4355. Or you can join our Patreon, patreon.com/WeAllBe. Become a member of this channel as well. Thank you to D. Griffith, my lone member, but the best is yet to come. I got a lot going on, folks. I just don't talk about everything. I'm just losing people left and right, and got a lot going on personally, and got a lot going on, hopefully professionally. Life is busy for me right now. I don't know what it is to be a grown person to be bored. I meet some people say, I'm bored, I'm grown. How can you be grown and be bored? Because this is so much going on, so much to consider and digest, so much to get through. And my days be flying, and I be doing stuff, getting things done. I'm proud of myself for that. I really am. So I'm just trying to, let's see, I'm trying to find. Trying to find. I'm trying to find something because, like, see, I think they'll make a good time. I'm trying to find something. I thought I had it pulled. But have y'all watched that show Swarm by any chance? Swarm. Anybody seen the show Swarm? What is this? Okay, damn, luck of the draw. This show right here, man. Oh my God. Where do I begin with Swarm? Jesus Christ. I just I don't know. It proves my point that social media is MK Ultra. Like all of us who got social media accounts and followings and we engaged in this social media phenomenon, we are all potential Manchurian candidates. And this show makes a beautiful point. Very scary, dark, twisted, funny, but really threatening and intimidating and anxiety filled point. You know, man, I oh my God. Let me get my thoughts together, man. I just woo boy, this show here. Donald Glover never disappoints, man. This is a Donald Glover production. I believe he has this big, nice deal with Amazon Prime to create original content, and he is delivering, man, with this Swarm alone. I mean, Atlanta, but this Swarm thing, oh my God, it really, oh my God. Do yourselves a favor. This is what I did. I started watching. It's 7 episodes. It's season 1, 7 episodes. I started watching Swarm Friday night. Oh my God, that first episode, it blew my mind. I had to take a break. I wasn't expecting what I saw. But my thing is, I don't really expect too much of anything out of these movies and TV shows. And that's what makes it so good when you get rewarded by not, expecting to be rewarded. You're like, oh my God, what the heck? And shout out to Dominique Fishback because I was wondering about her the other day. I said, when is she gonna do something? Because she has talent. I loved her in Judas and the Black Messiah. She was very likable in the Power movie on Netflix. I think it was called Power, right? With Jamie Foxx. That movie that was set in New Orleans. But Dominique Fishback, boy, she got some acting chops, man. I didn't even recognize that this was her. I mean, it was totally different character that we used to seeing her. Like she was Fred Hampton's fiance and his baby mama to be in Judas and Black Messiah, so supporting, so feminine, so loving, so giving. And then she was a great protagonist in the Power movie. I'm gonna make sure because like y'all getting them comments, man. That man got the movie wrong. I can't trust nothing what Brother Ron say. He got the wrong movie, the wrong actor, and everything, man. Can't trust what this dude got to say about nothing. And that's why I don't really have the need to always get on here and speak and just talk yappity yap. There's so many people out here just talking. I mean, thank God. I guess it's like with Andy Warhol. He said everybody will get their 15 minutes of fame. So a lot of people out here, they got they following in social media. I don't feel the need to always share everything that's on my mind. I don't. You think I do, I don't. There's a lot of times I be agonizing on coming on here and doing anything. Because there's so much people just talking and yakety yak. Project Power, right? Okay. Project Power. Project Power. Yeah, that was it. Project Power. That was the movie from Netflix with Jamie Foxx. That was a good movie. Project Power. Okay. But she plays a lady named Dre in this movie, and she's an obsessed fan with this musician, artist, music artist known as Niger. We all know Niger is based on Beyonce. Matter of fact, Niger hometown is Houston, Texas, where Dre is from. She's from Houston, and Chloe Bailey plays her foster sister. They're very close. Chloe Bailey, boy, she is a fully grown, sexy woman. I tell you, she got some curves on her. She's voluptuous, got curves. Man, I ain't know Chloe was working with that. Anyway, Dominique is a doting foster sister. She loves her foster sister Chloe. It's like they blood sisters, and they both big fans of Niger. They're part of the swarm. Beyonce got the Bayhive and all that stuff. So Niger won 26 Grammys. Beyonce got over 30 plus. Interesting. So I like how the show opened up with this is fictitious, but it's based on true events. So it's interesting. But Dominique Fishback as Dre, man, she tapped into some dark energy on that one, man. She probably got a detox from that role. It's kind of like how Michael B. Jordan talks about Killmonger, how he really got to him mentally, or you think about Heath Ledger with the Joker character that he played that got him an Oscar, but got him dead because he got lost in that character. And it's easy for actors to get lost in character, especially if you commit yourself to the role, you do your research, you get into the character, you method acting, all this stuff, get into the psychology of your character, of your role, You saw with the dude, with Austin Butler who played Elvis, like he won that was it Golden Globes or Emmy, what that Golden Globes, I think, and he sounded like Elvis. Thank you very much, thank you very much. Because he was like studying Elvis, his mannerisms, researching Elvis for couple years to get that role. That's why he was acknowledged for being great at playing Elvis, because he got into that role. So Dominique, she really went into some darkness because in this movie, she's a serial killer. All for the love of Niger, a devotee to the goddess Niger. It's like you got these Bayhive fans. You can't criticize Beyonce, they come at you, they swarm at you. Killer bees, swarms. But yeah, so this is like a love letter to the Beyonce stans. I look at Swarm as a love letter to the Beyonce stans. And this is definitely because even Naja has a spiritual sister. She's more artsy and spiritual. So I guess, Solange, Solange is not Beyonce. Beyonce is a cultural phenomenon, but Solange is a spiritual, artsy. And I actually do like Solange stuff. She's actually like, to me, Solange is a artist. I like Don't Touch My Hair. It's the fact that she did collaboration with the Sunrise Orchestra. That speaks a lot to her awareness and appreciation for the culture. And she's tapping into that. But I like some of the stuff she's done, but it's just the way the world works is kind of weird because in a different multiverse or universe, Solange is a bigger star than Beyonce. And Beyonce is weird to me because Beyonce is almost like a Stepford wife in a way because, she's a great performer. Beyonce is an amazing performer. She put a lot of work into what she does. It's not just the singing. People say, well, she's not the greatest singer. It's not about the singing. It's a performance art. She's a performer. It's not just singing. It's not just dancing. It's a little bit of everything. And she got it. And she is like, she's well packaged. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't really know what Beyonce thinks about anything. You don't. She's the perfect marketing tool. She's not too political. She's really not too controversial. Regardless of y'all, people want to see her. Like, you try to read into like Lemonade or her Black Panther performance at the Super Bowl, and you really don't know what Beyonce really thinks about anything. I remember listening to her interviews years ago. Beyonce, she said she was from Houston. She's like a pretty old country city girl. But you don't hear too much of Beyonce say anything these days, except the right things for her to get whatever she get them $1,000 tickets, get the people to buy them $1,000 tickets. But she's a cultural phenomenon. But this is definitely like a love letter to the stands of Beyonce Beehive. Because I believe there's people out there that would probably do these things for Beyonce. Y'all forget it's like a cult. Like people forget that Charles Manson was a musician. Charles Manson was working with Dennis Wilson from the Beach Boys. He wanted to be a artist, a performing artist under contract somewhere, perhaps. But I will tell y'all to go listen to some of Charles Manson's music. To be honest with you, Charles Manson had some talent. I ain't gonna lie. He actually had some talent. He had a gift for words and persuasion, as we all know. He had certain charisma about him, but he actually had some music ability. So it's not, and he had a cult. So imagine a person like Beyonce who's charismatic and selling millions and millions of records and albums, songs, streaming millions of times and sell out concerts and people just obsessed with this lady. Yeah, so this is Swarm. This could happen. I could see somebody being totally into Beyonce in a spell like trance, because I believe that one of Beyonce female musicians was suing her at one point. I think she said Beyonce put a spell on her or something like that. And people laugh at that. I don't know what Beyonce is from that Houston, Louisiana Creole type of stuff. I don't know. Women, I heard women, some women cook spaghetti for you and they put a bloody tampon in the spaghetti. You don't know what you're eating. Then you say, I can't stop thinking about this woman. Every time I think about spaghetti, I think about her spaghetti. Lord, I need me some legs to go with that spaghetti. I need some legs to go with that spaghetti. Some thighs and breasts to go with the spaghetti. I need her thighs and breasts to go with the spaghetti. So you know why you saying all that? You know what I'm saying? So, they play so many people, witches and Wiccans. I don't know. Who me to say? But like the Swarm thing, y'all should check that out. I most definitely should check it out. Like I said, Dominique Fishback, man, was interesting. There's 7 episodes, and like you could easily watch these episodes. They're under 40 minutes long each for the most part. Episode 6 is very interesting because it comes like a true crime discovery, ID documentary, true crime drama, true crime thing. And like it's weird. I mean, it's just strange because you now have a detective from Memphis, this black woman from Memphis. I guess he got that from another 48. Because we have a detective that's well known from the first 48, very popular. And she's the first lady of East Trigg Avenue Church, East Trigg Baptist Church. She's the first lady of that church. She allowed us to have a Jimmy Lunsford event in honor of Dr. William H. Brewster and Dr. Lucy Campbell at the church. Dr. William H. Brewster used to be over East Trigg Baptist Church back in the day. That was Elvis's favorite minister. Elvis used to come to South Memphis, the East Trigg Baptist Church on Sundays to listen to Dr. Brewster and his choir sing. And sometimes, from my understanding, he would sing and participate himself because Elvis had a love for gospel music. And really, if you don't know that Elvis won his Grammys for gospel and inspiration music. Take the time to listen to some of Elvis's gospel music or spiritual music. It's pretty good. I was listening to it the Thursday that Lisa Marie died. I had no idea that she'll be dead later on that day, but something told me you need to listen to some Elvis gospel music as you get ready for your day. So I put on some Elvis, not realizing that Lisa Marie was out of here that same Thursday. But anyway, what am I gonna say? Beyonce should do a gospel album. She should do a gospel album, and that will win her that album of the year Grammy that she won't. Do a gospel album, Beyonce. Your fans tell her to do a gospel album. But like they did episode 6 with Departure. It was a true crime documentary. They had a black woman who was a detective going investigating, traveling around the country, conducting all these isolated cases and figuring out that this was all done by a serial killer, but not only a regular serial killer, but a black female as serial killer. She figured it out because she started investigating the victim's social media, and the one thing they had in common, they all hated Naja. That was Dre's goddess. They hated her. So that episode 6 threw off a lot of people because I thought this Dre Green, Andrea Green was a real person. So I had to actually I started Googling it, but then it said she wasn't real. And then it was like to throw people out because even in that episode 6, they interviewing Donald Glover on the red carpet at the Atlanta premiere, his TV show. And he said, "Yeah, I'm working with Don Fishback on a project about Dre Green, da 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 da." And you think like, was this a real person? But they actually at the end of the episode, they had a phone number you could call if you had any information on Dre Green.
Of the police tip hotline. If you have seen or have any information on the whereabouts of Andrea Green, please enter the crime reference number A53K. Who is your favorite artist?
So that's the number you could call, right? And I called, and they would have had this pre-recording. And I was like, man, they really went all out for this. But this is like this swarm thing, man, it was disturbing, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, but it was like a car wreck. It was disturbing, but I couldn't keep my eyes off of it. I kept having to watch it. And I thought it was gonna be like 8 or 10 episodes. So I was really disappointed it was only 7 episodes, but I'm sure it's gonna be a season 2. But like they had Leon in there. They had Norm Lewis. Norm Lewis is so gifted. I don't think people understand how brilliant Norm Lewis is, because I came aware of him on the Shonda Rhimes show, Scandal, because that's the one that old girl should have married, but she wanted to be a side piece with no fries for the President Grant. The Norm Lewis to me, like he's a Renaissance man. But it was good, and then to see Cree Summer in there too. That was a throwback to see Cree Summer in there. I'm not gonna give away everything in the show, but it's a show worth watching, man. I really enjoyed it. It was sick. It's something about he even had Billie Eilish in there as a cult leader. Because it's an episode where the Dre character, Don Fishback character, trying to go to Bonnaroo. That's in Manchester, Tennessee, Bonnaroo. There's like a big music festival, right? So she'll try to see Naja at Bonnaroo, but she ended up getting kidnapped by this cult, this white woman's cult, this white womanist feminist cult led by Billie Eilish. And that episode was interesting. The whole thing is like, what the hell? It was some things that happened in those episodes I didn't see coming. But shout out to Donald Glover. He's at the top of the game. Like you got Donald Glover, you got Shonda Rhimes, I guess you got Lena Wave. You got Jordan Peele. They are at the top of their game, whether good or bad, better for worse. They doing it what they do. But shout out to Dominique Fishback. She really delved deep into this role. I mean, she really delivered the goods. She really sold that Dre Green. And I thought this was a real person based on episode 6. So what more can I say? Yeah, that's about it. Did I do it justice? I don't know, but I want y'all. If I got Amazon Prime, you know somebody got an Amazon Prime, binge watch Swarm. Zzz, killer bees. Zzz, and every time she's about to kill somebody, zzz, and then think about it. Like I said, social media is MK Ultra. It's training us to be Manchurian candidates. Think about John Hinckley Jr. had social media. Back when he had went out to Reagan for Jodie Foster, if he had social media, think about if there was a social media for Diana Ross in her prime. Diana Ross is really the blueprint for Beyonce. What if Diana Ross had social media back in the day? You know, think about all the stuff that we are not privy to because there was no social media. You know, people talk about Ja Morant. You could talk about whoever do something crazy on social media. But imagine the Showtime Lakers had social media back in the 80s. Imagine if Rick James had social media. Very freaky girl. Don't bring home the mother. What you put on top of Instagram. She will never let your followers down. Okay. So anyway, that's something to swarm. That's something to think about. Okay. You did. And last but not least, man. I can't believe I got through this. Ain't the best reviewer, but I gave y'all something to talk about. Giving you something you can feel. Because I gotta go to sleep, I think. I gotta go to work at 5 o'clock. But anyway, if you like what I'm doing, you want to see more of it, please support the move. Your cause just because. And I'm not checking out the chat room. I hope y'all getting along in the chat room. I'll look at it towards the end. Trust me, I'll look at it. I acknowledge my fans. Bzzz. Ain't gonna nod you. You know what I'm saying? You dig? Ain't gonna nod you. Know what I mean? Oh, yeah. Woo! Harlem is mine. What's that? Brother Forrest Whitaker, the Godfather of Harlem. I had to see the finale for season 3. Did not disappoint. My thing is this. I be checking out people's social medias about Godfather Harlem. They say it's not realistic. They say this and that. It's not based on facts. Da da da. I tell you this: art is a lie that make us realize truth. Picasso said, "Art is a lie that make us realize truth." The Godfather of Harlem is not about Bumpy Johnson. It's about exposing who killed Malcolm X and who put drugs in the so-called black community. Let me repeat. Let me get a drink of water. The Godfather of Harlem is not about Bumpy Johnson. It is about the folks, the entities who killed Malcolm X, L. Haj Malik El Shabazz. Because y'all think y'all funny. Well, no, his name ain't Malcolm X. It's L. Haj Malik El Shabazz. Well, his name ain't Martin Luther King. It's Michael King. Okay? I don't care. Look, whatever you know. Some say Kwame, Torre, some say Stokely Carmichael, and they both right. Let's get beyond that. But a lot of people say, I can't watch it, but y'all can watch Power and Empire when they get all goofy at the end, because like a lot of these shows, they lose ideas. And it's my hope maybe the Godfather of Harlem will end after this season. I will give it 2 more seasons because they still have a couple of storylines they could go. They still haven't really introduced a Frank Lucas character yet. And people will say, well, the Godfather of Harlem is far stretched because they can't believe that Malcolm could form an alliance with somebody like Bumpy Johnson. And I'm telling you, Bumpy Johnson knew Malcolm when he was Detroit Red. You got to think about Harlem ain't that big, you know what I'm saying? And Malcolm was in their life, so he wouldn't know of a Bumpy because Bumpy been in Harlem for years. He been back during the Prohibition days. You remember Bumpy Johnson helped take on Dutch Schultz for Madame St. Clair, you know, and you see the movie Hoodlum. That was a pretty good movie, but it was not historically accurate, but it was accurate in the fact that you did have a war going on between the black gangsters and the white gangsters, in particular, a Jewish gangster named Dutch Schultz. That really did happen. But some of the stuff in the movie was not based on historical fact. It's historical fiction. Like Godfather Harlem is a work of historical fiction. Like people don't know Malcolm X used to be a dishwasher at Jimmy's Chicken Shack. Him and Red Fox, the great comedian, used to be dishwashers at Jimmy's Chicken Shack, the same place where Yardbird Parker would play his jazz and eat chicken. Yardbird Parker played at Jimmy's Chicken Shack and he loved eating that chicken. Finger looking good, you know. So if you go to like Gil Noble TV show, Gil Noble is a very important black media pioneer. He had the show in New York called Like It Is. This called Like It Is, y'all. Y'all New York people, y'all gonna tell you Ron get it wrong and correct me in the comment section. But I just like I do all this. I just like I look at all these people talking and just talking, and y'all love it. So let me just talk, and I might get some things wrong, but there's some facts somewhere in there. There's facts in there. You could just take a look. It's all online. But it was a show called Like It Is. Gil Noble did. one of the longest running community TV shows, I guess, a New York public television history, I believe. I'm not sure, but Gil Noble passed on. He's a righteous ancestor or ancestor. But he talked about how in an interview he did before he died, how he was afraid of Malcolm X when he was alive. Like he would see Malcolm speaking out on the street, he would walk the other way. And he could recall with some of his white friends would come into New York and they'll be near Malcolm, and he tells his friends, let's go somewhere else. And then the white friends say, no, we want to hear what Malcolm got to say. We're intrigued by what Malcolm got to say. So Gil, it wasn't after Malcolm died that Gil Noble realized who Malcolm really was. And so to his credit, he dedicated his career to exposing the truth about Malcolm X legacy, as well as what happened to brother Malcolm, who actually did Malcolm. I mean, he actually interviewed a whole bunch of people, family, friends, foes. He got this all on tape. And I remember some of Malcolm's friends, like some of his chief lieutenants, I don't think they were necessarily Muslims, but they was like, Malcolm had two groups at the end of his life. He had the Muslim Mosque Inc. that he founded for the followers of Minister Elijah Muhammad, who left the nation. They wanted to follow Malcolm, but they wanted to still practice their religion a certain way. So he had Muslim Mosque Inc. And he also had another organization more secular and political, the Organization of Afro-American Unity, which was based on the Organization of African Unity over in Africa, because Malcolm made some connection and formed some important strategic relationships with folks in Africa. So one of his lieutenants talked about how Bumpy Johnson did offer Malcolm protection. He did offer Malcolm protection, but Malcolm turned him down. Just like it was weird that Malcolm would not allow his followers to do security, to check people. He didn't allow that at his speech at the Audubon. He allowed people to come in without being checked by security. That was a mistake. But I think Malcolm knew he was a marked man, because people don't understand, everywhere Malcolm went, he was being harassed. Like he'll go to L.A., leaving the airport. You got cars of people following him in L.A. from the airport. You got people that approach him in groups trying to beat him up, him and his followers. So Malcolm had all this going on against his person. So he knew his days were numbered. And they try to food poison him over in Africa and places like that. And they dramatize it in The Godfather of Harlem, how he almost died from food poisoning. He had to get his stomach pumped. So they did that a couple of times to Malcolm. So there's a lot there, but what I like about the show is that it shows some of the things that Malcolm went through with his own people. But it's dramatized. Now, don't look at this as this is historical fiction. This is not a history lesson. This is it's not historical fact. It's historical fiction. But historical fiction is based on historical facts. But it's dramatized. It's Hollywood. So don't trust that they're telling you the gospel truth about anything. But what this show does beautifully, it shows you the government involvement in the death of both brother Malcolm X and also bringing drugs into our community. It's like when I go back with Dick Gregory. If I know anything about Dick Gregory, he had a problem with the Black Panthers, in particular the West Coast faction of the Black Panthers. He had issues with Huey P. Newton and Eldridge Cleaver, but he also respected Fred Hampton, because Fred Hampton to him wasn't no thug, because Fred Hampton was actually doing community things. Like he was, give free health clinics and free breakfast programs, sickle cell testing. Just watch Fred Hampton. No, I'm talking about the movie. Movie was all right for what it was. But Black History fact is better than Hollywood fiction. There is actual footage of Fred Hampton talking about organ harvest and how these hospitals, they'll kill Black people on purpose and take their organs and sell on the black market. This is Fred Hampton talking about this back in the late 60s, and it's on tape. You can find this online somewhere. It's like this man was just 21 years old, and they knew what they was doing when they got rid of Fred Hampton. So they started watching Fred Hampton at 14. Like I said, his mama used to babysit Emmett Till. His mama, Fred Hampton's mom, used to be Emmett Till's babysitter. So you start thinking about all this stuff, right? How everything's connected. Connect the dots. Think about, in Godfather Harlem, talking about the French connection. Y'all know that Lucky Luciano, the father of organized crime, of modern mafia, he was a government snitch. People want to say what they want to say, but he was snitching too. He no different than Sammy the Bull Gravano, he snitched a guy out of prison. Lucky Luciano did, and he helped traffic drugs into America. No, they deported him to Italy, but Lucky Luciano still was involved in the drug trade, and the government was involved in the drug trade. And I like about the Godfather of Harlem, it showed you how the CIA got involved in drug trafficking to support their activities in places like Cuba and all around the globe. That the CIA are the biggest drug traffickers in America. It's not Bumpy Johnson. It's not Frank Lucas. It's not Nicky Barnes. It's good old Uncle Sam. So it shows all this, and it give you names of actual people like William Harvey. Look up William Harvey, the CIA guy. Now they got a big fat white dude play him in season 3, but he's a real guy. I never knew about Jose Battle until I saw The Godfather of Harlem. Jose Battle was a real guy. He was a Cuban mob leader who was drug trafficking, weapons trafficking. He was a part of Operation Operation Mongoose stuff, Bay of Pig, but he was a big time criminal lord in America for decades. This man was in $1 billion business, man. I didn't know he existed until I saw The Godfather of Harlem, because Bumpy had an alliance with Jose Battle against the Italians for distribution, all this stuff. He made a deal with the CIA. But in season 3, he was letting William Harvey know, look, man, I know about Operation Mongoose, all the stuff y'all try to do to kill Castro, and I'll leak this to the press. So this stuff is it's historical fiction based on historical fact. So people look at The Godfather Harlem. It's not about Bumpy Johnson. This is about how the government destroyed Black people by eliminating their leadership and destroying their communities through drugs. So this is why I watched The Godfather Harlem. It's also entertaining. It's some great acting going on. Forrest Whitaker does a great job. Then the brother who played Malcolm X is like, it's kind of traumatic, so to speak. It's kind of like the two Kunta Kintes. Like you had LeVar Burton, he was Kunta Kinte. Then John Amos is Kunta Kinte. He was like, what happened? What happened to Kunta? It's like what happened, man? What happened to Kunta, man? No, anyway, but the second dude that played Malcolm X does a good job as well, too. But I kind of feel in the first guy, but they both do their jobs. But my problem with, okay, I'm gonna tell you why this is historical fiction. It's not even historical fact. Like the problem with even the assassination scene, right? Betty Shabazz, the lady that played Betty Shabazz, you could tell she's not pregnant. And they only have 2 of Malcolm's 4 daughters shown in the assassination scene. Like throughout the whole show, Malcolm had 4 daughters and he had twins on the way. But in the show, at the Audubon, they only show 2 daughters. And Betty is not pregnant. So that's why I say you can't watch this and say this is historical truth. No, it's historical fiction. And like Picasso said, art is a lie to make us realize truth. And it's worth watching. And there's a couple things you can read, like Mamie Johnson, Bumpy's widow, lady who plays Mammy, she should win an NAACP Image Award. She does a great job. Giancarlo Esposito does a great job as Adam Clayton Powell Jr. To me, I don't like. See, my thing, he's short though. He's like a leprechaun. I mean, he ain't that short, I don't think. But Adam Clayton Powell Jr. was like 6'3", and he was very fair skinned. Like if you look at Adam Clayton Powell Jr., you couldn't tell he was a Black person. Matter of fact, at one point when he was in college, he was passing for white, and then he got caught. Then he started something Black. Like they will say that when he was in DC as a congressman, he will find the darkest person in the room and go to that person and hug them and embrace them. Because he chose to be Black. Like he said, I'm gonna embrace this Blackness. I was trying to get away with it, even dating some white women. See, all the civil rights leaders, they dated white women. Malcolm X used to mess around with white women when he was the criminal. Dr. King was gonna marry a German cafeteria worker at one of the seminaries before he married Coretta. Marcus Garvey had a white female playmate growing up in Jamaica. James Farmer married to a white woman. Ain't James Farmer, was he married to a white woman? I know James Foreman was married to a wealthy white woman, like one of Rockefeller, Rothschild type of white women. He will marry James Foreman in the world. Was James Farmer married? Because like it's the same, you know, James Farmer, he did a press conference. This is the leader of CORE. He was the leader of CORE. And he was portrayed in the Great Debaters movie with Denzel. He was like the protege whose daddy was the college professor at Wiley College, I believe. Played by who? Forrest Whitaker, right? But James Farmer, I remember seeing a press conference he did after Malcolm got killed. He said he was at the White House, and Lyndon B. Johnson asked him, "Anybody? Do you know what happened? Did they know what happened to that Malcolm fellow?" Like Lyndon B. Johnson don't know. I don't know. Maybe he didn't know. And I believe that James Farmer believed that it was a drug conspiracy. That it was like the French connection, like the mob that killed Malcolm X because he was trying to get rid of the drugs out of the black community. Like he was getting in the way of drug distribution in the black community. That was James Farmer idea, but there's a lot of people that wanted Malcolm X dead. And I think the Godfather Harlem does a good job of not just saying it's the Nation of Islam. Because that's what people get. They keep on saying, well, Farrakhan said, they created the atmosphere. Now, we cannot let them off the hook, of course. Farrakhan did say that what Malcolm did deserves death and all that. It's printed in newspapers. They got caricature of a Malcolm, his head with devil horns bouncing down the street. This is well documented. A lot of things Nation of Islam within did. But Elijah Muhammad said, leave the brother alone. And sometimes you can't control your goons. You know, your goons gonna do what they're gonna do. Sometimes they're gonna let you in on what they're doing. So you can be insulated. So when things go down, well, you know, he didn't know. He can't control these goons. But anyway, like Malcolm said, I trained these folks. He knew what they could and could not do. And some of the things that would happen to him, Nation of Islam could not do. They could not deny him entry into a country like France. They don't have no power to deny Malcolm X entry into France. Come on now. Now, but the nation was compromised by law enforcement agencies. Now, you know, John Ali was an asset to the FBI. It's been well documented. In books, I would tell y'all to read The Judas Factor by Carl Evans. That came out in the early 90s. I think it's worth a read. He's from St. Louis. He used to work at the Washington Post. Then a professor out of Maryland, I believe, Zach Kondo. He's a hell of a researcher. You can probably find some of his interviews on YouTube. He did an interview a couple years ago. I believe still on YouTube, like several hours long. And he gives you so much information about all the things happening around and to Malcolm in his last days. He does outstanding research into the mechanisms that got Malcolm assassinated. And I hope that Benjamin Crump and his team would take advantage of somebody like a Zach Kondo and people like that that can help them lay out really the whole thing. It's been laid out, you know, it's coming. It should be. The government killed Malcolm X, okay? I don't know what to tell y'all. Y'all keep on, y'all weird to me. Y'all, it's like y'all more worried about Dr. Umar Johnson, what he do with the donations, than what y'all more worried about that than about the Federal Reserve and about the IRS, what they do with y'all donations, what they do with y'all money. Y'all have more questions for Dr. Umar Johnson than I do about the IRS and the Federal Reserve and all this other. It's just fascinating to me. These banks can do belly up stuff. They can steal billions of dollars from their clients and their whatever, and nobody really asks questions. But y'all more concerned about a $500 donation. What Dr. Umar Johnson gonna do with their money? I don't really care what he does because people gave it to him, whatever for whatever reason. That's their business. That's his business. But I see a lot of people that. But then with Malcolm, it's all around you. The government was involved in this. But I just think that stop looking at this as a history lesson. Because I remember I was in high school. I was in high school in history class. And we was talking about Malcolm X, some of us and students among ourselves. And one brother said, I ain't gonna never forget this. He said, man, Mr. Bain shouldn't do Malcolm like that. Why did Mr. Bain do that to Malcolm? I said, Mr. Bain was a composite character. He wasn't real, man. The person, there was a brother in prison. His name was Bimini or something, some name. He was a light-skinned dude with freckles, right? He encouraged Malcolm to get on the prison debate team because he was a brilliant criminal. He was a intellectual. He's a brilliant guy. He actually existed. And I wish they would have had that character, the actual person who befriended Malcolm in prison and help him on the debate team. Why not actually show that person that is? Because really it was Malcolm's family they got him to convert to Islam. His sister Ella and his brothers and sisters, they got him to get into Islam, into the Nation of Islam in particular. Was no Minister Baines, but now was a brother in prison that was a big influence on him to develop his intellectual prowess. They should have had that brother. See, it's like the real story is more powerful than how you gonna have the Malcolm X movie without Farrakhan in it. That was his number one protege, Farrakhan. You know, Farrakhan from Roxbury. Malcolm's sister Ella lived in Roxbury. Malcolm spent time in Roxbury. After Malcolm left Temple Number 7, Farrakhan came up with Temple Number 7. Now, what I like that I wasn't aware of, Barbara Walters, and y'all, you know, I don't have no problem with Barbara Walters. She did her job. She understood the assignment. She was an internet troll before there was internet, okay? But she was good at what she did. She got the answers. She actually asked Farrakhan point blank, where was you at when Malcolm got killed? I love that she did that. She said, where were you? She didn't say it like that probably. She's, you know, it's online. Take a look. It's online. She said, where were you when Malcolm got hit? I'm saying like that. And he said, well, I was over there at Mosque 25 in Newark. Thank you. Because, like, y'all look at that Netflix documentary. It to me got holes in it. You know what I'm saying? Because dude was talking to John Ali, left him off the hook. He didn't ask him about him being FBI. What was your relationship with the FBI? He just let that dude off the hook. Then he helped get some guys exonerated. I don't think they all innocent. I think they had a part in helping to create the atmosphere that killed Malcolm X. You know, people, oh, they innocent. They're not innocent. I remember when Dick Gregory said, they said we had information that could have got them guys out of prison early. Well, I said on it because they're guilty of helping get Malcolm killed. They're not exonerated. You know, y'all people weird, you know, but y'all blame Nation of Islam, NYPD. Now, Malcolm's chief bodyguard, Eugene Roberts, was undercover bossy NYPD, but that's counted as COINTELPRO. So, like, when you say, well, the Memphis Police Department killed King, it was elements within the Memphis Police Department that was involved in the assassination of King. Yes. But did the whole Memphis Police Department, were they in on it? No. It's like I'm going to say this, I'll be repeating myself, but why not? You know, they're going to kill Dr. King in Louisville, Kentucky. You know, Breonna Taylor, her name Breonna Taylor. What that girl name that got killed by the police? They said Louisville police were going to kill Dr. King because, you know, A.D. King, Dr. King's brother had a church in Louisville. But it was a white police officer on the Louisville police force that told the press or blew the whistle, said there's a plot within the Louisville police department to assassinate King. And then the people from the Louisville police department said, oh, we're just joking around. We're just joshing around. We didn't mean anything about it. When they own exposed them. Okay. They wanted to get Dr. King of Los Angeles, but they got Bobby Kennedy there instead when he was running for president. So who are today? I'm talking about, who do you think? If the gun that killed Dr. King could be traced back to the FBI as far as chain of possession, who would they be? Who they be, child? Who they be? Who do you think I'm talking about? So that is why. Because our people don't read no books. We don't want to talk to no elders. Check out the Godfather Harlem and begin your journey. Like I said, I tell you people, Zach Kondo, Carl Evans, and some other folks, but those people come as Zach Kondo and people that in the comments say that they'll be educating you, educating me. It's stuff I be sitting on because like this is weird to me. Like I'm out here, like you don't understand who it is. Be me. Like I'm vacuuming people floor. They know I'm Brother Ron. I love how you do and da 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 da. So yeah, I bet you never gave a donation though. You don't care enough. You know, as far as entertainment for a lot of y'all, to me, this is my life. That's why I don't feel the need to always go live with it. But check out the Godfather Harlem. It's entertaining. And also, I'm into mob histories. Like, you want to think about another thing, you know, Bumpy Johnson, his main nemesis in the Harlem Godfather. Godfather Harlem is Vincent the Chin Gigante. Now, Vincent the Chin has a daughter named Stella in the show. Stella is the love interest of his of a nemesis of Vincent the Chin Gigante, Joe Colombo. Joe Colombo Vincent the Chin Gigante are real people, but Stella is not a real person. Vincent the Chin Gigante did have children, but they were not of that age during that time of Bumpy Johnson. He didn't have no grown kid at that, he didn't have nobody at that age. He has daughter. He has several children. But he had nobody of that age that could have been a Stella. That's what I'm saying. You can't go by what you see on Godfather Harlem and say, this is a gospel truth. Joe Colombo is an interesting person in himself. You know what I'm saying? Joe Colombo was an Italian-American civil rights activist for Italian Americans. He made sure that the producers of Godfather movie did not put the word mafia in the movie. The mob got rid of Joe Colombo doing an Italian-American civil rights rally. They sent a black dude to kill him. They killed the black dude on the spot. This is why but people think it was Vincent Gallo, Crazy Joe, they did it because Crazy Joe was known for working with black gangsters. He had no problem working with non-Italians doing criminality. But it probably was Carlo Gambino. Carlo Gambino was sneaky with his because he didn't like this dude bringing all this attention to their organization, this thing of ours, right? Even though Joe Colombo was saying not all Italian Americans are in the mafia, which is true. And then he was trying, he was like, this is during the time of the 60s where everybody was trying to advocate for their group and stuff like that. But they're bringing too much heat on the mob. Like Carlo Gambino was not an American citizen. He snuck over to America back in the 20s. He never got his citizenship, but he owned all these businesses and controlled all these unions and had a mansion. So this is the American dream for a dude, but it's an American nightmare for the folks who built the country, right? You see how that works? It's like I saw an interview that Mike Wallace did with Joe Bonanno back in the 80s. Joe Bonanno was the head of the Bonanno crime family. It still exists to this day. Joe Bonanno died in 2002 at the age of 96. He was living out in Arizona, living out his golden years. Joe Bonanno was from Sicily. Now, Mike Wallace interviewed Joe Bonanno back in the 80s. Joe Bonanno sounded like he was fresh off the boat. I couldn't understand what the hell. He'd been on here for decades. He still sounded like he just came out from Sicily off the boat the day before. His sons were educated, like Bill Bonanno, very well educated, very well spoken. But his father, he sounded like an immigrant. He'd been over America for decades. So it's funny how that works. It's funny how it works, man. But anyway, okay. And Paul Sorvino did a great job as Frank Costello. Frank Costello, the prime minister of the mob. Paul Sorvino, we lost him. We lose Paul Sorvino last year. He died last year, right? Paul Sorvino. He was a great actor. But he played Frank Costello. And they written him out the show, I guess. Anyway, yeah, check out The Godfather Harlem. Interesting show. So I guess that does it. Let me see. Look over here. This comment section. What y'all talking about? Thank you for tuning in, Sister Marcia. We love you, man. No, man. Elements within the nation. It wasn't the nation, but it was the nation, the government. It was the government. We got to put the blame where blame is due. Y'all make it like, I wish we had that type of whatever y'all think we got. We don't have it like that. Even the boule, the boule is not in service of the black race, is in service of their masters. Guess who the masters of the black boule are? Can't serve two masters. No, I got StreamYard. What you talking about? This is StreamYard. You're going to be waiting for a long time because our people are not interested in making movies like that. It's going to take some white folks to make a Khalid Muhammad movie. We only got a Marcus Garvey movie. And Marcus Garvey been dead since 1940. Barely got a Malcolm X movie. Malcolm X wife, widow, Betty Shabazz, she sold his life rights to this Hollywood producer named Marvin Worth. I'll say back in the 70s for a little bit over $100,000. So that's the movie that Spike Lee even ended up making in the 90s. But even the Hollywood studio didn't want to give him enough money to make the movie. So he reached out to people like Bill Cosby, Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Janet Jackson. Black celebrities helped finance Spike Lee movie or biopic on Malcolm X. And it's a classic, but it's flawed because it distorts the historical narrative of how Malcolm became Malcolm. Even though Denzel did a what should have been an Oscar winner performance for Malcolm. But they gave it to Al Pacino, Son of a Woman. Al Pacino should have won for portraying Michael Corleone in the Godfather series. So what Hollywood, the Oscars is not about really always the best performance of the year. It's about sometimes we're making up for what we didn't do in the past. It's trying to right a wrong from the past. It's politics, like a lot of things. Gil Noble was afraid of Malcolm's shadow when he was alive. That's the problem. That's why Gil Noble devoted so much time after Malcolm died to interviewing colleagues, even adversaries of Malcolm, to get the full picture of Malcolm. And also, he spent a lot of his time trying to find out who did Malcolm in. So now that's the reason why we don't have no interview with Malcolm from Gil Noble. He was afraid of him. And also, it's another brother down in South Carolina. They had an amazing show back in the day. Lesterville Middleton. I think his name Lesterville Middleton out of Columbia, South Carolina. He had an amazing public access show. He interviewed some of the finest black minds of our time. Anybody you could think of from the last 40 or 50 years he interviewed, he passed on too. He's a righteous ancestor star now. Yeah, like it is. Thank you, sir. Well, they might still got 2 more seasons of Godfather Harlem. They might introduce Frank Lucas, but if you read Mamie Johnson's book, she was saying Frank Lucas overstated his importance. Now, I would say Frank Lucas was a braggart, but he was a figure of his time. But I actually interviewed a guy named Ike Atkinson, Ike Atkinson, who was from North Carolina, like Frank Lucas and like Frank Matthews. He was known as Sergeant Smack. He was a Marine, but he was the one that was actually bringing in the drugs that Frank Lucas took credit for. In the movie American Gangster, they say they were bringing in the drugs to the coffins or the corpse of American GIs, dead GIs from Vietnam. And Ike Atkinson, who was a proud patriot and a military veteran, he took offense to that. He said what they did was they were bringing in the drugs from the Golden Triangle through teakwood furniture. They had a guy who made furniture for them, and they put the drugs in there and they brought it into America. So like that, Ike Atkinson got a book called Sergeant Smack that was co-written by Ron Chepsick. Ron Chepsick is a prolific true crime author. He got his own podcast too that you could check out. But it's so many people, Frank Lucas, whatever. Frank Lucas overstated his importance. But if you just read Mamie Johnson's book, as far as his relationship with Bumpy Johnson, according to Mamie Johnson. And there's a picture of, Mamie Johnson got her memoirs, and she got a picture of Bumpy Johnson getting into a car with a guy. I forgot, I think his name was Flash. His nickname was Flash. I think that was the guy that Frank Lucas kind of modeled himself out of, according to Mamie. Let's read it. Mamie Johnson's dead, but she wrote her memoirs, so it's good. It's so many guys. I mean, people talk about Nicky Barnes, but how many people really talk about Guy Fisher? How many folks hip to Guy Fisher? That's a black man who actually owned the Apollo that Nicky Barnes ratted out on. I think Nicky Barnes did, but he was a. Thank you, Sister Betty. We love you madly. Appreciate you as well for the Cash App donation. They come in handy, but there's so much stuff out here, man. Like, read up on Guy Fisher. There's a lot of those cats out here that were solid guys, and according to their peers, Guy Fisher at one point owned the Apollo. I don't know if he's still alive. I don't know if he's still in prison. But it's like Nicky Barnes, He brought down a whole organization. You know why? Because his wife was screwing around. The only reason he brought down the whole organization, he broke the code because his wife didn't want to be with him. She was screwing around. So that's how it be. Donnie Williams, I think you an agent, dude. You funny, not funny in a good way, but you, I tolerate you. I tolerate fools. It's just guy fishing free. Okay, I'm good for guy fishing. He said he gonna stand up, dude. And if Diana Ross had social media back in her primes, it should be like Beyonce wouldn't have nothing on Diana Ross. You got a lot of Diana Ross stands to this day. Even Donna Summer, they got this Donna Summer biopic on. I don't know why they should have had Kelly Rowland play Donna Summer. I just like when you don't control your story, then they can say whatever they want to say. Because even with the flaws of the Godfather of Harlem, it still let you know who actually killed Malcolm X, who brought drugs into the communities of black folks. Just before Freeway Ricky Ross, the government been putting drugs in the black community for decades. I said, well, they stole a lot of land from black people in Mississippi. You know, Mississippi didn't do what he did with the white sponsored state terrorism or the state sponsored white terrorism. Mississippi would have had several black governors and a whole bunch of U.S. senators that were black from Mississippi. Now, Mississippi guy is Benny Thompson. He too busy talking about Trump on January 6th, but Jackson got no clean drinking water, and they doing all types of land grabs and funny business down in Mississippi, from my understanding. But this is a never old story. Like I tell people about Robert Johnson, his stepfather owned a whole bunch of acres of land down in Mississippi, and they ran him away. He ran out of Mississippi with his life, left all that land unclaimed behind, and moved to Memphis. Like I tell people about, you're talking about that 1,000-acre ranch them black folks own in Colorado. I talk about Isidore Banks all the time on this show. Y'all need to look up Isidore Banks. I did a lot of content on Isidore Banks. This man owned 3,000 acres of land over in Arkansas, Marion, Crittenden County. They lynched him, castrated him, burnt him at a tree, took all his land, took his money out the bank, everything. But anyway, all right, thank you all. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all madly. Like the words from Brother Herb, please spread the word. YouTube, We All Be TV. That's YouTube, We All Be TV. You can also cash out your support, $R2C2H2. Cash out, $R2C2H2. Thank you, Sister Betty Jones. We love you madly for being a true supporter. And also the other people who've been donating through the mail and through other means. Trust me, it's coming a long way. Got to pay off some bills and keep that P.O. box, because they really raise. It's weird with the postal service. They really raising the cost on them P.O. boxes. This is ridiculous. Like, it's just insane. But anyway, I got it now. But PayPal, Google Pay, or you can Zelle your support. Use the email r2c2h2@gmail.com. That's r2c2h2@gmail.com. You can Venmo your support at r2c2h2, at r2c2h2. You can even Apple Cash it. 901-299-4355. 901-299-4355. You can buy artivist art. I got to update my website, but you can buy some of this art. r2c2h2.com. That's r2c2h2.com. You even wear artivist art. Come on, I'm all shook up shirt on. If you're on YouTube, go below the description box. Access our official Teespring shelf. Show some of our latest designs. Also, right now, get buy shirts 16% off for March Madness. 16% off t-shirts and other things. And to read this disclaimer, I'm gonna let y'all free like Sinke, all day, every day. People talking about some pseudo and stuff. Well, I don't have a call in, so you can just dominate my show with like same old. What are you gonna teach me that I don't know? I might do a call in, but I'm gonna ask people that you call in, you can donate, because that means more time on the air. But I don't know, probably here. There's a lot of intelligent people that listen to the show. Shout out to the intelligent people that listen to the show, that add to the dialogue, and also give me stuff to talk about. Okay, disclaimer: the views expressed by hosts and guests on the We All Be TV platform are not the official views, opinions, beliefs, or perspectives of We All Be News or the We All Be Group Incorporated. We All Be News is an organization that thoroughly believes in supplementing the information narrative that is usually supplied by the corporate news entities with those viewpoints and expressions which may be marginalized or ignored for a plethora of reasons. We are about informing the general public on alternative perspectives as it relates to news and information, and letting the general public be the ultimate judge in deciding on how to use said information. Informed citizens are responsible citizens. Thank you for your support. Thank you all once again for taking time out your schedule to tune out, to tune in, to get in where you fit in with yours truly, Brother Ron. And we all be, because we all be in it to win it. And we love you madly, in the words of Duke Ellington. And also in the words of Brother Ron. Keep on producing and pushing. One love. See how it works.